Hello, Mobile.
Was that your British accent?
I have no idea why I just brought that out.
No, I think I like it. I think it's fitting for today's interview.
That was my historical accent from the past. Right?
Yeah.
That was my colonial accent. Why?
I don't know. You tell me.
Because today in our Do Some Good episode, we're going to be talking to the History Museum of Mobile. So sit back, relax. We'll get to it in just a second. Welcome.
Hello, Mobile. We are super excited that you guys are joining us, whether you are watching or you are listening. We are thrilled to have you. So I kind of am super excited about this because we have on today's show Stephanie Evans from the History Museum. And, you know, the History Museum is something that is like, it's like a foundation for every city, every cool place has a history museum.
100%.
Even the small towns have a history museum. Everybody's got a story. By
the way, if you're jumping on this episode and you're hearing about history museums, and you're like, what the heck's going on? What is this? So this is our Do Some Good Mobile podcast. We're doing both a video series and a podcast series, all related around the magazine Do Some Good Mobile, which is a project of the Mobile Rundown. Like, you guys are probably already familiar with our brand, but this project started 3 years ago, and this is the third one that we've done. And this is the first year we've started interviewing the organizations that were highlighted in the magazine. So pretty excited about
bringing the organizations to life. I think sometimes it's fun to read. It's great to read. We love the publication and everything that's in it. Mm-hmm. But it's actually really cool to dive into these organizations and find out more about what they do for our community.
Totally agree. Should we bring on Stephanie?
I would love to.
Let's bring on Stephanie. Let's have a chat. Hey, Stephanie. Good day to you.
Hey.
Good to see you. We are thrilled that you are here with us today, and we want to thank you for being a part of our Do Some Good publication for 3 years in a row now. You guys are amazing.
Oh, it's like trophy worthy.
I know it is. It really
That's
is.
Awesome.
So Stephanie, if you don't mind, will you tell the public who you are and what your role is with the museum?
So I'm the marketing and events manager at the History Museum of Mobile. So all things internal events or special events like weddings or parties, and then all of our marketing, social media, website, you know, all things, related to marketing efforts.
Wow,
it's a big title.
That's a lot. That's a lot of weight on those shoulders. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No pressure. No pressure.
We've been to a wedding there, by the way. That's a great time, great venue for
Gorgeous.
A wedding. Side note for anyone looking for a cool venue for a wedding. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll dive into that in just a little while as far as the events and what you guys can do as far as hosting something. But will you tell us a little bit about the museum? If somebody is new to Mobile or they're passing through, how would you describe the museum to them? What's your sales pitch to get them to come through the doors?
So the History Museum of Mobile basically goes through Mobile's rich history from pre-colonial all the way through civil rights, and it focuses on what was happening here at the time. You know, you'll see, in like the Civil War exhibit or in parts of the Civil Rights exhibit, things that are happening in the entire United States, but basically, we're focusing on what's happening specifically in Mobile. And then we've got some Mardi Gras exhibits because it wouldn't be Mobile if we didn't talk about Mardi Gras. And then we also bring in traveling exhibits from time to time. That kind of, we're bringing in these things that are global. We've had ancient Rome exhibit, we've had an Egyptian mummies exhibit, and so we've got some exciting things that'll be coming up in the traveling exhibit world as well.
How do those come to you? Like I always find that really amazing. Like those big traveling exhibits. Like, how do you find those? Do they find you? How does that work?
It's us finding them. So there's actually in the museum world, there's these kind of websites that you kind of reach out to, and you pick on there, well, I've got this much space, I can handle this much of an exhibit, and I have this much of a budget, and it kind of breaks everything out for you. And then we all just kind of sit around and pick what we think might be interesting, things that people maybe have never seen before. So, and then we just kind of have to start fundraising and see where we can, get the money.
Exactly. Are there
Huge part of it.
I bet there's conferences for museums. You know what I mean? Like big conferences. There's a conference for everything. That's why I knew that there would be a conference for museums. Yeah.
Yes. And I actually went to one. It's kind of funny. When I started at the museum in 2019, my very first day started at a conference. Because,
okay.
Well, it came up, and the director was like, hey, we're actually going to be out at this conference on your first day, but it's in New Orleans and you're welcome to come if you want to. And I was like, well, yeah, let's see what this is about. So I did get to go there my first year, and then obviously because of COVID, it was canceled.
The museum conference.
I know, there is a conference for absolutely everything.
So can you trickle any information on an upcoming one, or no? You mentioned like there may be some upcoming.
I can. I can tell you what's coming up.
Okay.
Not giving away too much information, but in mid-October, we are going to be welcoming a Vikings exhibit that is from Sweden.
Cool.
All right.
Wow.
Oh, that's so neat. That's really different than I think some of the things that we've seen in the last couple of years. That's awesome.
Yes. So it's from a museum in Sweden, but it's been in the States for a little bit. It was in Seattle at their Nordic Museum, and it's in Montana right now. And then it'll be at our museum in mid-October.
Very cool.
Fantastic.
It's making its rounds. I like that.
We can't wait.
That's neat.
You mentioned the Mardi Gras part of your museum. Now, most Mobilians know there is an actual Mardi Gras museum, the Carnival Museum here in Mobile. So this is something completely different than that. You guys have a whole section that goes through some of the history of that. Can you describe some of that to us?
So you'll see some of the costumes. We actually have a lot of trains from the past queens. They're actually on display right now, but they're so large that they're not on display a lot. We kind of like cycle them out. And then you'll see just some like throws, some really old doubloons, and just, no food. There's no moon pies shoved back in a cabinet or anything, but just some cool throws like that. We also have kind of like the front facing of a float on one wall. So it's, just kind of like what you would see on the side of a float, but it's just the paper mache part or, whatever is like attached to it.
I love it. It is a really, really awesome display. People, a lot of times with us being the rundown, a lot of times we get questions of like, okay, I'm coming through town. What should we do? And I think you guys and some other museums, Battleship, those kinds of things, those are the things that we really try to touch on to let people know, like, this is where you can really find out about the history of Mobile. Most people coming through that are not from the South have heard of Mardi Gras, literally have no idea what it is. I know people stand in the streets and yell for food being thrown at them, but having a little bit of history is fantastic. And so there's another part of the museum that I love. It is you have the models of the historic homes. That's my most favorite part. I don't know. It's like, it's every little girl's dream. It's these beautiful.
That's why I'm laughing, because you're a girl. You love the little dog.
You love them
houses.
too. Yes. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
So the miniature doll houses were created by Aaron Friedman. He lived in Mobile, and his son, who lives in Arizona right now, still kind of is very interactive with the museum and kind of making sure that his parents' stories get told. But it started off, he was building a dollhouse for his granddaughter. And he got so involved and it became so intricate that by the time he finished, he wouldn't even let her play with it. So then it just became a hobby in his retirement, and he created a house for every one of his granddaughters, which, oh gosh, I think there's 6 or 7. And then there was one for his wife. And we have all of them.
Wow.
They are fabulous. They are very intricate and very the detailing on them is something that I don't know if I've ever seen on anything before of that magnitude.
Yeah. So his wife, Sarah, actually started to help him, and she's the one that made, if you really look inside and you see the little towels hanging or the little toilet paper in the bathroom, the little rugs, she made all of those by hand.
I love it.
That's amazing.
Fabulous. I know. We need to refresh your memory. We need to go take a visit down to the museum.
Speaking of, actually taking a visit down there, is there something that you do for locals? So, our brand probably reaches just as well, probably more, locals, people that live here in Mobile, versus tourists. We have also tourists that will come across our brand. But for locals, any recommendations or obviously with the circulating, with the Vikings that's coming up, that's something that locals could go back and see, right? It's all not always something that they've seen before. So, any local recommendations or any info there?
Well, I would say for locals are probably our most popular day. So we're actually free on the first Sunday of each month.
I knew it. I knew there was a free day. I didn't want to say that.
He did ask.
I didn't want to ask you, hey, don't you have a free day? But I was like, I bet you'll tell me if I. But yes. So that's okay. So it's the first Sunday of the month.
Yes. Now it changes from this year. It has been funny. The first Sunday has fallen on more holidays than I've seen.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. So I think the next one's coming up. It just depends. But it's always on our website. If the first Sunday falls on a holiday where we're closed, we're not usually closed. We're only closed Easter, 4th of July, Christmas. But if for whatever reason it falls on the first Sunday, we change it to the second Sunday. But we always do our free Sunday. And that's usually where we see the majority of locals. In fact, I know because people tag us on Facebook, I know there is someone who comes every single month.
Oh, really?
It's their fix, and I love it.
So, it's kind of okay, you're local. It's your freebie day. It's a low cost. It's a free thing to do in town. But here's the cool thing about that is that locals have people sometimes that come and visit them from out of town, right? And so those people don't always come on the first Sunday of the month. So it's every person that can come through your doors can potentially become an ambassador for oh, you need to go to the History Museum because they have this, this, and this. And so for locals to get to go and experience and walk through, that's actually a great marketing tool for you guys for when, their friends come from out of town for whatever occasion, So I think that's cool. That's really cool that you guys do that. I think it's smart.
Well, and what I like about it too is that, say you've got some people who may be living in West Mobile or Saraland and Citronelle, maybe they just don't make it downtown that often. You can make a whole day out of it. Come for breakfast, brunch.
Yep.
Because on Sundays we're open from 1 to 5, so you can go do that. Then you can come to the museum. And then within the last year, we actually took management of Colonial Fort Condy. So that
was my next question. Yeah.
So on free Sunday, you get to go to both sites for free. On a regular day, your admission to the fort is included with your admission to the museum.
Got it.
Very cool. So if somebody's listening and doesn't know very much about downtown Mobile or the history there, can you give us kind of an overview of the fort and where it's located in comparison to you guys?
So the fort is across the street. So we're on Royal Street, right across from Mardi Gras Park. The fort is on Church Street. So we're kind of in a little 90 degree, just
Go outside and look to your left
Yeah,
and right, and you'll find the fort.
You don't have to go across town to find it.
It's right there.
No, it's right there. And when you go inside, so it's a replica fort. It's not the original Fort Condy. The original fort was actually found when they started digging up the Wallace Tunnel, and you can see a little piece of it that's on the one end of Mardi Gras Park facing Fort Condy. So when you get inside there, it's a replica fort. That's important to understand. That's not the real fort, but it's what it looks like. It's just at a smaller scale. And we've got exhibits in there about the colonial powers of Mobile. So it goes all the way, Spanish, French, English, and then when joined the United States. So it goes through all of the history of that. And then you can get some really good views. So you can actually go on top and walk around, and it's a great city view. You can see everything. It's just fun I think it's fun to take pictures there.
It is. It's one of those places that you want to take someone if they're not from here. Really, you can do pictures for anything. But when you're bringing someone in, the view of downtown from the top is just beautiful.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, and so actually, that reminds me about an event that we've been to there before. That is also a fantastic event space. So let's dive into this is more your niche. Let's dive into what you can do with these spaces, the History Museum and the fort. And we can talk about the Phoenix Fire Museum too in just a minute. But yeah, these two spaces, they're museums, but they can be rented out.
Yes. So at the History Museum, what we call the atrium, which is when you walk in, you'll see it. You go past the lobby stairs and you'll see a big statue. That's Mary Ann. We talk about her like she's a real person. And that's our atrium. That's where the receptions are going to be held. We've had weddings of up to 350 people. Now that's standing room, that they came here to party. Now we've had nice intimate weddings with a lot of seating, and maybe that's like 75 people. So, we could be very flexible. And we've got some other rooms. We've got our portrait gallery, which is upstairs. I have had some brides choose to get married in that room. Brides that are really just in love with history, and it makes for a great backdrop. I'm just thinking about this one photo of this bride just in her dress with all the portraits behind her, and it looked amazing.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Gorgeous.
And then we also have our courtyard. So it's outside, it's Mobile. Yeah. But I will say, I've been here for over 2 years, and I think we've only had to use a rain plan a handful of times. We've gotten really lucky. But I don't recommend it in the heat. It's
no.
Especially if it's like rain the day before and then it's just real steamy in the courtyard.
Yes.
But it also doesn't have to be weddings. We have birthday parties, retirement parties, and we even host meetings and conferences and things like that. And then at the fort, everything's outdoors. So you have to go in with knowing you're probably going to have to rent a tent, or, you're going to get wet if it rains. Yeah. And that's just kind of like a big open space, whereas the museum, has kind of like these little off rooms. But it's a fun place to get married.
I will say that out of all of the venues, and we have some really darn good venues in Mobile, especially downtown, I will say that I have been the most impressed with the wedding that we went to at the museum. It was gorgeous. Big words. You know what it feels like? It feels like you're walking into
history. Into history.
Stop it.
Is that the word you're looking for? Or no?
Yes, it's beautiful. I feel like you're just you're walking into
sorry. Yeah.
I don't even the word.
Marble staircase. It's just
Yes, regal. I think the word was used. Regal.
Ooh,
just absolutely stunning. And there are so many different ways that you can make that event space work for you for whatever you're doing. So you guys do a fantastic job with that. I guess with COVID, so I'm sure clearly like the rest of the world. But are you guys back now holding events? Can people now reserve?
Yes, we are actually, we are booking into 2023 at this point.
I love it.
Wow.
Yeah.
What happened the later half of this year is, we had a lot of weddings they were supposed to happen last year, so that got pushed to this year. So we actually have a really busy summer and fall based on that, and based on maybe their venue is not back yet, so they're trying to find new venues. We did see a huge uptick in that. And just the fact that we have people calling us about 2023, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, people are ready. Absolutely.
So I'm assuming that's not normal that you would have people call necessarily that far in advance.
It hasn't been like that in the past. I would say it's been like, maybe a year in advance. I get sometimes where a bride is calling like 6 months before, and I'm like, oh, okay, let's see what we got.
Yeah, let's see what we can do here. Yeah,
she is ready. She is ready to get this marriage started. Well, you guys do oversee the Phoenix Fire Museum as well, and I know that even being a Mobilian, the Phoenix Fire Museum was something I was like, what? That's a thing? I didn't even, So Can you give us a little description about that and how long it's been around and how long you guys have been kind of the caretakers?
So it's right down the street. So it's not, you can't walk out and look at it like you can the fort, but it's still walkable. It's on Claiborne. And so a lot of times when we have field trips, the schools will hit up each location and they'll just kind of walk down there. But it's, it's in an old, firehouse, that has been converted into a museum. So you'll see, there's really old fire trucks in there, equipment, some great photographs of old firefighters. I love looking at old photographs, so that's probably like the best part. And then prior to COVID, we had like a little dress up station where kids could, put on the actual uniform and do all that. But it's a small museum. It's only open Tuesday through Friday. It's free. It's free all the time. You could just kind of go in there and get your little fix. Trying to get some things happening over there. It's not really like an event space. It's small.
Right.
But it's a lot of fun, I think, if you're a little kid and you're like, oh my gosh, look at this old fire truck. It's nothing like what you would see today.
Yeah, I know. It's really cool things that are down there. I got a chance to go in there. We both did the ambassador program for Mobile through Visit Mobile, and
cool program.
Very cool program. And we got a chance. I'm not sure if you.
I went there also.
Yeah. Yep. So it's really kind of a tucked away, cool little gym that's in the middle of downtown Mobile. And like you said, it's free. Hop in there. You can go check it out on your lunch break, or the next time you're down for dinner. Go before you go to dinner. I think that it's
And to clarify, there's not an active fire pole that you can slide down, correct?
No, you cannot.
I feel like for our listeners, I needed to clarify that you cannot slide down a fire pole. Just want to lay that out. It's cool though.
It has been closed off. You can see it, and you can look down, but you cannot slide down it. No.
You cannot test the fire pole, rundown listeners. I repeat. Okay.
So, and I think that the fort has this as well. You mentioned dress-up stations. I believe the fort had a dress-up station as well at one point that kids can get in colonial wear. Okay, do we think those are coming back? What do you think? Do you think things like that at the fire station?
Well,
Snapchat filters, man.
Yeah. Well, and I also keep seeing like these terrible outfits at like Target of like colonial. It looks like they should be on like Anne of Green Gables or something. And so I'm like, well, if they're selling it in Target, then I guess it's fun to dress up in it.
Colonial is in. Colonial is in. That's right.
I love it.
That's right.
Okay, so they're driving through, they're stopping in Mobile for the day, for the night, for the weekend, whatever it is. What is the best way for them to get in touch with you and find out about your hours, your location, and all those kinds of things?
Everything is on our website, historymuseumofmobile.com, or Facebook. We're very, very active on our Facebook. If anything happens unexpectedly, that's going to be the first place you'll find out. They can also call us, and our hours are listed like in the message, like when before you reach a person, you hear what our hours are. But our website is going to be the best place to go for all the information.
Wonderful.
Perfect.
I know Brooks has one last
question. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I like asking this, Stephanie. So, like, is there anything that you wished you got asked, or something that you could set straight, or some record or something that you don't normally get asked about the properties or about the museum? And I'm explaining this in a long way because everyone's kind of been stumped by this question a little bit. So I give them a little time to think about it. But it's just like, I want to give you an opportunity to say, hey, yeah, I wish I got to talk about this more that people don't know, or, or no one asked me this and I wish they did. Is there anything that comes to your mind?
Well, we touched on it a little bit, but it's the fact that we have, those 3 locations. It's the History Museum, Fort Condé, and the Phoenix Fire Museum. And then the main thing I like to tell people, we're the History Museum of Mobile. We're not Museum of Mobile or Mobile Museum of History, or, I get tagged in so many of those things.
Title right.
Like, yeah. It's not even our name. History Museum of Mobile.
Hey, that's it. That's the good one. That's the best one right there. You get it. Hear it, people. History Museum of Mobile. Oh,
right.
Mobile.
And
just
so people, also realize, when you come to the museum, we have over 117,000 objects in our collection. And what you see on display is not even a dent in what we have. So another thing to keep on the lookout for on our website is when we do behind the scenes tours.
No way. I didn't know that was a thing.
We did them. So the last time we did it was when we had our open house in 2019, because we didn't have one last year. So we run them every 30 minutes or so, and you just get a sneak peek of things that are rarely or if ever on display. So I would look at that.
That's cool.
Is that for any particular reason that they're not out, or is it just for the abundance of items that you have? You physically just can't have them out everywhere all the time.
Yes, it's an abundance of items. Now, some things will get brought out for special exhibits, and that just depends on what we decide we're going to curate. But for what's in the museum right now, based on those exhibits, those are just the objects that were chosen. So if we ever redesign the exhibit space, we might choose some new objects.
Okay, I like it. And I have one last question. I don't know if we touched on this or not. I don't believe we did. How long has the museum been around? Do you know a date of a year whenever it opened? And I don't mean to stump you by that, but I just feel like it's at least 80 years.
Google it, Mandy.
I know I should Google it.
It actually used to be in the building that's now the Mardi Gras Museum. It used to be there.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Okay.
Now, I don't know how long it was in that building. It moved to this building, and I know this date because it's September 11th, 2001. It moved to this building.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, so the grand opening didn't happen because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, dang. That's easy to remember.
20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for being with us today and opening up some more information about the museum, the History Museum of Mobile.
That's right.
Get it right.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's always a pleasure to see you. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Take care, Stephanie. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
See ya. That's
cool. That was
History Museum of Mobile.
Got it. Pay the price, right?
Everybody got that for the 5th time? Yeah, we're gonna make sure y'all know.
You know
people.
what? I know that I have said it wrong a million times. Mobile Museum.
Don't admit that right now.
Oh, I feel like now I know.
But now you've said it a million right times. Now we've said it correctly a million times.
Yeah. Right? Sometimes locals, we just need a little slap in the face.
So guys, if you have not gotten, first of all, if you haven't read the magazine, you can do it today digitally if you want to. Hop on the mobilerundown.com, find the Do Some Good section. You can click and you can read the digital version. So that will get read infinitely more actually than the paper version. But if you like a hard copy, like we do. Look at here, holding a hard copy.
I liked it.
You can reach out to any of the organizations that you find in the magazine. And they're also at a number of like random businesses around town. I couldn't even begin to exactly tell you where, but you may just find them at places that you can pick up a copy. So do that. And if you're an organization and if you're not, maybe you're not in here and you're like, man, I didn't even know about this. What the heck? How do I get in there? Reach out to us. Just connect with us. Reach out to us online. And maybe you're a business and you'd like to sponsor an organization for next year. We're gonna soon we'll be looking at the 2022 project. Why? Because it takes a lot of time and energy to even put this together. So we'll probably start working on that fairly soon.
That is beginning soon. So we would love to get as many organizations and businesses involved in this as possible, so we can spread the word about all the good that is being done in Mobile.
Exactly. Any final words, Manny, before we let these people go?
Free on the first Sunday of the month, History Museum of Mobile.
Of Mobile.
Get out there.
Get out there. All right,
do some good. Yeah.
All right, guys. Take care. Talk soon.